Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Smashy Business Show. I am Warid Ahmed.
And I'm Abdul Majid.
It's Friday, the 10th of January. It's Friday.
Yeah,
it's Friday.
It's Friday.
Friday. I've never heard that one, but you can clearly feel the excitement here. Ooh, the weekend is coming up.
Yes,
but not just the
finally.
Weekend, the 1 billion summit is coming up.
Yeah, that's also coming up. There's a lot of events. The Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week is ongoing.
But the 1 billion summit
Yeah,
one.
1 billion summit
That
will
one's
be big.
crazy. There's going to be so many creators there.
Yeah.
It's actually expected that there's going to be 15,000 attendees.
Yeah. Nice.
It's a crazy one. It's a very crazy event.
They're divided into like different parts. So YouTube will have its own area.
Yeah.
So if you want to meet YouTubers, you can go there. Snapchat, Instagram,
Oh,
Meta.
so excited.
So that's the nice thing that
just
whichever platform you're on or you want to build an audience, you can go there.
Yeah.
Find the tips and tricks.
I'm so excited because Naguib Suarez is going.
Yeah.
Carl Tuckerson is going. So many creators, so many. It's absolutely insane. But how are you doing, Majid?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh my God!
After the experience, how are you?
Majid, guys, I went to Coldplay. It was crazy. Majid, it was absolutely insane. So insane that it honestly resurrected my will to live.
Nice.
No, really, I mean it. Like, oh my God, like I want to achieve my dreams. I want to keep going. Like, I want to keep it pushing. That's how good that concert was. It was absolutely amazing. So worth the money. My ticket was actually 480 dirhams.
Oh.
I was seated. I was one of the seated people. Absolutely insane experience.
So did you sit?
I did. No, honestly, I was standing. you know, nobody has asked me that, by the way.
Yeah.
Nobody, they were just like, oh, okay, seated. No, we all stood up. It was so insane. It was so beautiful and magic. Do you know it was so amazing? It was so well planned.
Nice.
Like, guys, look at this.
That's music to my ears.
There were 40,000 people there. 40,000. It was insane. You know, I have videos of people running, and I was like, oh my God. It was crazy, but they planned it so well. Yeah. It was so easy to walk in, get seated. By the way, the entire shuttle bus drama, it's not that deep. The entire shuttle bus thing, you know how all the media outlets have us all panicking? I actually did not use the shuttle bus, Majid.
Nice.
We actually parked somewhere. It was this like random building beside Zayed Stadium, and we walked.
Nice.
We walked.
When did you
and
leave?
then
Like, where did you give the people who are going tomorrow?
Ooh, okay. I'll tell you everything. So basically, me and my sister, we went to the Emirati gas station beside Expo, and then our best friends picked us up from there at 6 p.m. on the dot. We arrived at that random place we parked in at 7:30 p.m.
Nice.
Our walk took us about like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
They were closing the gate at 8:30. We were all panicking. We were like, oh my God, are they going to start at 8? Are they really going to start early? We arrived, we sat down, 8:25, we were there. 8:35, 8:40, they started. They had started the concert. You don't have to panic. Honestly, the shuttle bus situation, even if you're not a part of the shuttle buses, taxis, Ubers, it's all fine. They can drop you. You can walk.
And
so
the
it's very
good part
easy.
is weather is good. So you can walk easily.
Ooh,
yeah.
Speaking of weather, Majid, I do have a tip for all of you. Do wear a sweater. Although, yes, it's 40,000 people there, it's actually still cold. You know, I felt like the air constantly like swinging against my face. No, really, it was really strong. It gets really cold after, so bring an extra jacket.
Yeah, for your return ride, most probably you'll need a jacket.
But Majid, do you know what was, it actually, it ended at 10. It ended at 10. I got home at 12:50, but that's because I stopped at McDonald's.
So it's a 1 hour, 15, 20-minute concert.
Make sure to eat. Yeah. Make sure to eat before you go because you don't want to miss a single song. Yeah. You don't want to miss a single song. It's insane. But Majid, do you know what really got me about the entire experience? I remember, you know, Coldplay, they said something that really it gave me goosebumps. He was saying, this is honestly one of the best diverse crowds I could have ever dreamed of.
Nice.
And then I deeped it because think about it. They're going to all these countries.
Yeah.
And what I noticed is that when they're hosting a concert in like Argentina, the entire audience is what? Argentinians.
Yeah.
You don't actually see anything else. But in this concert, there was Lebanese people, there were Argentinians, there were Pakistanis, there were Honestly, it was so. By the way, it was so diverse. Even when I was walking, like by the way, my ear, I was starting to get claustrophobic because of the amount of languages I was hearing. I was like, yeah, and everyone was loud, and you're catching up these different accents. It was so diverse. It was so diverse, and it really made me reflect on like this country, the UAE. How many different people are here? Because no, genuinely, Majid, the concert, it was different people. It was so many different people, but. You know, Majid, this entire experience, I know you're wondering, like, why are you still so hyped about this? Like, it ended. Not only was it Coldplay, but, you know, Majid, I've actually always been one of those people who I don't spend on experiences, on concerts. This is actually my first concert. It was my first concert. And the type of person that I've been, you know, growing up, the way that I spend money has actually always been a means to an end for me. Money has actually always been a more of a, okay, I have to fulfill all these duties, all these expenses, go get the grocery, things like that. That's always been what money is for me. And like I was happy when I get it because it's like, okay, I can make my friends happy. I can now go out with them and make them happy. Money has never been about making myself happy. So I guess when I've been making it, that's why I've never been actually excited about the process because I was never able to actually get experiences from the money. Do you understand where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
It was genuinely always a means to an end for me. And I remember someone actually in the office, they were telling me, you know, Ward, you're gonna get more and more excited about working when you start becoming that person who's like planning trips. You know, you're planning trips, you're planning to travel, you're going to concerts. And I didn't understand what they meant until I went to that concert.
Yeah.
And I realized like, oh my God, like man, this is what you live for.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like this is you live for those experiences. You live for those like trips.
Earn the money, and obviously spending it on yourself is good.
Yeah.
It's always good. It's a good feeling that I worked hard and then I got this feeling out of the money that I got.
I don't spend money on myself, by the way, Majid.
Everyone should.
No,
Everyone should spend some money on themselves.
I always like to, whatever money that I get, it's always been for me about the people around me. It's never myself. Like, even like all my clothes, I'm just one of those really lucky people. My family friends happen to travel outside and get me like gifts. And because it's so many, it's like, okay, I don't need to go shopping. So my money, I always dedicated it to those around me. I always, you know, preferred them receiving instead of me receiving. So this concert was me receiving for the first time and realizing like, wow, money buys you experiences. I know it's something so simple.
You can travel, that's experiences. Eat good food.
Yeah,
eating
I know
from home bakery, I guess.
Yes, ooh, home bakery, our first topic of the day. So Hind Mulla, the owner of Home Bakery, has gone on to tell the story of Home Bakery and how it has become a symbol of Emirati pride.
Yeah.
And Hind Mulla is actually my favorite entrepreneur, Majid. Yeah. Because I go to Home Bakery. Oh my God, Majid, you will have not lived until you have tried her Nutella chocolate chip cookies. They sell them on Noon Minutes, by the way.
Oh, so you can order them.
They're insane. Her cookies, everything that she has. And by the way, I am a foodie. I love food. So especially cookies, I've tried out different places, Milk Bakery, Billionaire's Cookies. I've tried out all these cookie places. She makes the best cookies. Her desserts, they're insane. Yeah. They're really good.
Oh, her story is, to be honest, this is the first time I've heard like a detailed view of her story. She talks about having ADHD and struggling with it. She talks about leading the kitchen, that she started in the kitchen around 10 years. When she was 10 years old, experimenting, obviously. Kids always try to go to the kitchen to cook something with their parents. And she went into the kitchen, started experimenting. Her father was one of the figures who pushed her to do better. Oh, you do this, you do that.
He did.
She tells that when some guests were there, and I became quite good at baking. So he would tell me, can you make something sweet for us? Aww. So he is motivating her as well.
And you know, he actually funded her first store.
Yeah.
So basically, she was operating from her home. And then at some point, her dad is the person who pushed her and said, why don't you actually make it a coffee shop?
Yeah.
It wasn't always a coffee shop. It was just her selling baked goods. And her dad stepped in and he said, make it a coffee shop and I'll help you open the first one. There's actually 11 stores. There's 11 stores. There's also one in Saudi Arabia, and there's also plans to open another one. But Majid, let me tell you something really special about Hind al Mulla. So, you know, all my Emirati friends, I have friends who know her personally. And you know what they told me? Before she even actually started selling the cookies, Hind used to send them the cookies in their schools.
Nice.
My best friends told me that we'd actually get her, she has these these chocolate melt cookies. I'm not sure if that's a specific name, but she'd send them to them in school and they'd try them out. They'd try out her cookies.
Nice.
And based on that, she'd like change the recipe, she'd fix it. So imagine this, you know, before she became such, like her home bakery became such a successful homegrown business, she used to send it to schoolgirls. She set her recipes, her cookies, and that's why I find it so inspiring. And
there's a lot of things in the story that are like I found them really interesting, and there's a lot of lessons. The main ones that I can remember is she got married, she had kids, and she talks about it in the interview that I had kids and the creative juices like stopped flowing. But there came a point when my kids were like self-sufficient, they grew up, and I went back into the kitchen and I realized that I need to do it again. This is like something that I love to do.
Majid, who was the interview with?
Enterprise. Enterprise is a news website and they have newsletters. So Enterprise UAE interviewed her. They interviewed her for the My Morning Routine interview. They have this interview which goes out every week. So I found it. I usually read it, but it's not usually people who you know. There are people who you don't know. But this time, Hind's interview, and it's very detailed one. That's the good part about it. So yeah, she went back, she started baking again, and at that point she realized it could be turned into a business. So it's never too late to start. That's one lesson from the story. And she says that the first time we opened a physical store, eventually I had to put staff in the store because it was impossible for me alone to bake everything. And customers' orders started coming regularly. And after Ramadan, she was like, after Ramadan, the very first year she started, after Ramadan, she got a few orders. But the next Ramadan, she was like, I was full. Every day I received 15, 20 orders. And people wanted quit.
And by the way, you know, Majid, what the reason why I'm so passionate about home bakery and what they've done is that it's one of the first actual cafes in the UAE to become so big. Now we know cafe culture in the UAE. There's so many cafes. There's bakery. There's Not. There's Trio. There's such a buzz around it. But home bakery, I've noticed, is the only one that the buzz around it is stable. It's stable because what I've noticed is that a new cafe concept will come out like concrete. Everyone will go and then everyone will stop going. People still go to home bakery. And I remember I was even once telling my friend, I was like, oh, like it would be such a cool idea to actually, you know, open a cafe in the UAE. And you know what she told me, Majid? She's a consultant. She said, by the way, cafes is not a money-making business. And then I immediately responded with, but home bakery does so well. And then she told me, but no, home bakery is different. And you know, Majid, all the weddings that I go to here, there's always a mini home bakery kiosk.
Nice.
Even and you know what she actually did? So basically, in University of Birmingham, Dubai, whenever they do their international days and national days, they bring home bakery, and Hind actually always discounts it for us because we're all students. So it's so lovely that I see her everywhere. I see her brand everywhere. No, really, I love home bakery. It's absolutely amazing.
The good thing is that she got support from Sheikh Mohammed, the Dubai ruler, His Highness. Also, she's like, when we started the physical store, everyone was coming and they were looking at the kitchen and they were like, why are locals working in the kitchen? Because it was an unheard idea that locals also go stand in the kitchen, work in the kitchen. So she's like, the word got out, and eventually the Dubai ruler, he was like, I have to see this. And he came, and she tells that he came, he saw everything. We gave him a whole tour, and he patted my brother on the back and said, this is what we want our people to do, to make brands, to like work hard, make the name of the country great, make the name of the emirate great. So getting a pat from the Dubai ruler, and then he also brought UAE president and the whole cabinet to get the experience. So this is like a true homegrown story where the word got out, and then people came in, and then the highest echelons of power, like the highest people who you can imagine.
Have you gone?
No, I haven't.
Majid, come on.
I was
You
right
have to
in
go.
front of it. I remember I went to Ras Al Khaimah and I was standing right in front of it. And my wife was like, okay, let's go. But there was like at least 1,000 people standing inside. Outside, there was such a big line.
It's so
and
good.
a very weird observation, all of them were Emiratis. Yeah,
Yes.
so supporting
support
their
their
own.
people.
Yeah. So I was like one odd person out standing, trying to get in, and I was like, it'll take me 3 hours.
I know how you feel. That
Yeah.
nervous. I actually get that nervous feeling too when I go to all these homegrown brands. I always tell my Emirati best friend, I'm like, I don't know why I get nervous, because I feel like I'm entering into a cultural meeting that I'm not a part of. And then she told me, like, don't think of it that much. And by the way, on that point that you mentioned, that you saying that it really interested you how it was all Emiratis there. Emiratis support their people. That is the most beautiful thing about their culture. By the way, Majid, I've gone to so many Emirati weddings. I love Emirati weddings. If you've been to one, you know how good they are. They're the most well-planned weddings I've ever gone to in my life, by the way. I'm telling you this, Majid. Like, the weddings that I've experienced, and guess whose kiosk I always see there? Home Bakery. Her cookies are there, by the way. Her cookies are always there. And you know why? It's because they support each other. Even my best friend who has, she has a homegrown business in the UAE. It's called From the Arabs. She creates candles. Guess what? When I go to the weddings, what do I see? I see her candles. They buy her candles. They support each other. And that's what I love so much. Like, you know, we see it time and time again in the UAE. Just recently, you know, the housing projects that His Highness Sheikh Mohammed approved that were worth, I believe, 1.5 billion dirhams that he approved for Emirati citizens.
5.1.
Oh.
Yours. 5 billion.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
My bad, guys.
No, but it shows.
It's when you see stuff like this. They approved housing projects for Emirati citizens. There were over 3,000. There was over 3,000 homes approved, and so when you see that, it's so beautiful. They're always supporting their people, and they're supporting their people in every single sector.
And
whether
to be
it's
honest,
cafes, whether it's homes.
Not only Emiratis that I've realized, because a lot of cafes, there was this time in around, I would say August, September, when there's like the summertime is ending and the weather is not that great. A lot of our rulers, they traveled outside, they traveled to London and all these places. And I saw that some of the brands that were started by non-Emiratis, but were started in the UAE, they expanded into London. The Dubai ruler was there to visit them in London. So he found the places which are UAE originated, even started by local, not local people, like residents only. He went to those places. There were videos circulating and all that. So it shows that he doesn't only care about Emiratis. The other people who start a business here and then expand, whenever they get a chance outside of the country, even they go there.
Caillou, it's basically this bakery, and they actually opened in England. And it's in Saudi Arabia. It's also in the UAE. I'm not sure if it was founded in Saudi or here, but it expanded into England, and all of the Khalijis are going there, by the way, Majid. It's not even just like Emiratis or Saudis. They're all going there to support it. And by the way, just a fact check on the housing projects by Sheikh Mohammed. Majid is right. It's 5.4 billion dirhams, but it's 1.4 to 1.5 billion dollars. So we were both correct, I guess. We were both correct in that sense. But you know, Majid, like, just on the topic of like Dubai culture and this culture that we have, man, I wish more people saw it. Like, you know, just recently, I was telling Majid this so passionately. So Kevin O'Leary actually has the Emirati citizenship. If you know Kevin O'Leary, you know Shark Tank. You know, he's on Shark Tank. It's really entertaining. And he got the Emirati citizenship. And I just started reading through the comments on LinkedIn. And someone said, oh, this still shocks me. I mean, how is he going to choose somewhere like Abu Dhabi to live? I mean, doesn't he know that the desert conditions in 10 years' time are going to be so deplorable? And I was like, excuse me.
Have you been to Abu Dhabi?
Have you been here? They haven't been here. And you know,
Yeah.
yesterday I was speaking to my best friend Majid. You know what she told me? She went to study abroad in France, and she said that she once brought for her classmates dates. They didn't even know what dates were. And then I asked her, I was like, oh, were the people who didn't know what the dates were they from different nationalities? And she said yes.
Yeah.
They were from Hong
It's
Kong.
like-
They didn't know that they've never seen a palm tree in their life.
What I've seen towards in the last decade, to be honest, people have started traveling more and like exploring other countries. Traveling vloggers, they have added to the knowledge of people. If you can't travel, you just watch their videos.
Yeah.
But the generalizations that we have about certain areas, like the Middle East, oh, it's all desert, it's all heat. Those are wrong. Like Africa, oh, there's only poverty. You go to Kenya, you go to South Africa, you go to you go to Nigeria. Like 2 years ago, I found a Nigerian friend. I was working with him. I realized they have the biggest film industry in Africa.
No way.
Nearly 70% of their GDP comes from
their
filmmaking.
music is good.
Yeah, so imagine the kind of things that people are missing out on just believing these generalizations.
Majid, can you say that number again?
Nearly 70% of their GDP is based on films. The Nigerian movie stars, the movie industry, the film industry, the whole entertainment industry. So imagine, you would never think of Nigeria like that, right?
No.
Because generalizations, oh, Africa, poverty, this, that, corruption. No, they have a film industry. Some places have great food culture. South Africa is very big in sports. Cricket, they're a big team. Rugby, they're a big team. So generalizations now, thankfully, they're moving away because of all these people
They're
making
still
videos
there,
about
Majid.
areas.
They're
They're
still
there, but
there.
those people need to travel or at least go on YouTube and find a good travel vlogger who's been to every country and watch them talk about countries. Because these generalizations are too old now.
But you know
if
what
you still believe in them, I don't know which rock you're living under.
You know what's really funny about all this is that, Majid, just before I came into the podcast room, I was speaking with Sheen. You know Sheen, the podcaster?
Yeah.
She's an amazing podcast.
You told me about her, actually.
I watch her podcast, and she has lovely interviews with people like Amy, Layla. She just does such a great job. And you know what she was telling me? I remember she asked me, she was like, are you raised here? And I was like, yes. I was like, is it obvious that I'm a Dubai kid? And she told me, yes, it is, because of how you appreciate the country. Yeah. And I was like, damn, like that's a good point. Because it's like, because I grew up here and now you're here, Majid, and you're seeing it, I feel like to truly witness the beauty of the UAE and this place, you have to actually come here. I feel like you have to see it for yourself. You have to grow up here. You have to spend some time here, and you'll really see what it's all about. And, moving to our next topic of the day. Now, Oman's economy is actually growing, and it's really growing. It's actually set to grow by 3.1% in 2025. And this is actually driven by how it's diversifying. It's driven by its non-oil sector. However, the concern here is that, due to Trump bringing in new tariffs, this could actually halt foreign investments in Oman.
Yeah, the OIA, the Oman Investment Authority, they pull out a whole forecast for 2025. Before that, the Oman government also published it. But according to Oman Investment Authority and also Oman, they're looking for foreign funding. It's foreign direct investment. They're looking for projects where people can come in and invest in those projects. The only problem that they saw and they quoted in the report is that if Trump's policies, which he has promised throughout his election, and when he gets elected, when he gets put on the seat on January 20th, I guess, as soon as he comes on the seat, if he goes through with those plans, where he's like, if you are a BRICS country, I will put 100% tariff on you. If you're this country, I will do this to you. So if he somehow manages to fulfill all his plans, those countries will go into an economic shock. And because of that, they won't be able to invest anywhere. So that is why Oman's outlook was pretty clear that if his policies are implemented, not only Oman, all the Middle Eastern countries will suffer, all the European countries, everyone basically who does trade with US and nearly everyone does trade with US.
Yeah.
Everyone will suffer. So yeah, this was one economic outlook out of the whole Middle East. Most probably as soon as he comes, or maybe soon enough, we'll get more outlooks because every country will do a forecast for its economy. IMF will do the forecast for every country. World Bank will do the forecast for every country. So we'll finally get a picture of what will happen when he actually comes into power and implements whatever he has promised.
No, but you know, when it comes to Trump, Majid, I always love the deals that Trump has in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Honestly.
He loves the region. That's the good part.
He does love the region, and he also does love Oman.
Yeah.
In fact, Oman Group has actually partnered with the real estate developer Dar Global, who is headquartered in Dubai, to actually create a $500 million Trump-backed luxury resort. So we're going to see, and I believe it's going to come around 2028 in Oman. So we see how much Trump loves the region.
The problem is
investing in a luxury resort like that.
Trump loves the region. The region loves Trump, to be honest, because
They
he's a businessman.
They do.
And this region loves businessmen because they only talk about numbers and, we can do this.
Unique.
The problem with Trump is that if he puts sanctions on countries which also do trade with Middle East, and nearly everyone does the trade with Middle East because oil and then now non-oil exports as well. So if he puts this policy in place for their partner countries as well, Middle East will suffer. So he will have to evaluate. I don't think he'll come up, do whatever he has said. No president in the history of US or in the history of world has fulfilled all the promises.
I think it's always the drama of being elected.
So they'll make 100 promises and they'll fulfill 5 and then they'll plaster it all over the walls and be like, okay, we did these 5 and let's go to the next election and win that. So that's the plan. Hopefully, whatever he is promising won't be implemented because it's not going to be bad for Middle East only. It's going to be an economic shock for the world because all these tariffs will cause problems for everyone, not only the Middle East. So let's see. As soon as he comes, we'll know.
Yes.
It's just 10 days away.
But just to give you guys more context on the deals that Trump has with the Middle East, just very recently, Trump has signed a deal with the Damac Hill CEO and owner, Hussein Sajwani, that is worth $20 billion to build data centers in the UAE. They have
in
the
the
Trump...
US.
In the U.S., sorry, my bad. And they also have the Trump towers that are coming here.
That are coming here.
And, we also have the Trump golf course that's in Damac. And by the way, Trump is very luxurious because I visited that golf course, Majid. By the way, like me saying it and you actually seeing it in real life are two different things. I remember we were visiting our family friends and then I went to the backyard. And you can actually go to the golf course through the backyard. You can just jump. You'll immediately land. And I remember looking at it and I'm like, oh my God, this is humongous. It was so humongous. It was so large and beautiful. So with Trump, something that I definitely have with him is that the trust in him is high. And I see why. It's for a reason.
He's a businessman.
He is, and he's a really good one.
Businessmen love businessmen.
Of course.
Because they're always about making deals.
Yeah, and finally, for our final topic for today, Mashreq has further expanded into Pakistan with digital banking.
Yeah, so UAE's Mashreq, which originated in Bahrain as the bank, but then became Mashreq and centered in UAE. They're the first bank to receive a restricted license for digital retail banking in Pakistan. So they're the first throughout the world to get a license in Pakistan for this digital retail banking. The plan is to have branchless banking, only digital assets, no physical branches, but the limited license restricts them. So they'll start with digital banking and physical location, but most probably after they show that it is a good thing, they'll move away from it and become a digital-only bank soon.
Yeah.
But Mashreq is big in Pakistan. Mashreq is one of the one of the most famous ones outside banks. So we have ADCB, we have Dubai Islamic Bank, we have all these banks in Pakistan, the foreign banks. We have our local products as well.
Is it a favorite among people?
Yeah, depends. The best one that everyone loves is Standard Chartered because of their services and their dollar accounts, and they have like so many services that other banks usually, even if you get those services, there's always problems going on. But local banks, HBL, Habib Bank Limited, MCB, Muslim Commercial Bank, all these banks are very good in local like exchanges and local money transfers and local services. But whenever these foreign banks come, they bring with them the expertise, international expertise.
And I think even with Mashreq especially, as Majid said, they bring in with them this expertise. It's not any expertise because Mashreq was founded in 1967. It's one of the oldest banks in the UAE.
It's the first private bank in the Middle East. First and the biggest private bank in the Middle East. It was now, others have become bigger, but it was the first private early owned bank in the Middle East. So it's big. So yeah.
And I know that this is probably really lovely for Pakistani citizens in the UAE.
Thankfully, Pakistani citizens in the UAE and Pakistani citizens as well, they'll be happy that some bank is finally doing something good.
Yes. Yeah. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, everyone. It's Friday. Enjoy your weekends. We hope you enjoyed today's show. This is Smashy Business Show, a Smashy Business production under the Augustus Media Podcast Network. You can find our newsletter on Smashy TV. And please don't forget to follow us on all our socials. And we also have Smashy Sports, Smashy Entertainment, Smashy Style, Smashy Green. Every possible Smashy that you can think of.
Smashy Sports is happening after this show. So
yes,
you can tune in
make
for
sure
Smashy
to tune
Sports.
In for it. Have a lovely day.